Hey guys, it's Chuck Rowe from Foraging Truth, and today we're going to learn the truth about Trillium erectum. But before we get into Trillium, guys, first hit that like button and share this with your friends and family. And then hit the subscribe button if you want to keep getting the truth about God and His creation. So, without crushing these violets by my knee, this nice woodland violets, which is an edible plant, let's look at this great big looking guy right here. This one goes by many names. One is the Stinking Benjamin, which we're going to focus on that name here in a little bit. Birthroot, Woke Robin, but we call it Trillium. And this one right here is Trillium erectum. So under the ground right here, you have a rhizome, and usually it's attached to other plants, and there's a couple more coming down off the edge of this stream. These like moist, rich soils, and you're going to see them anywhere between April and May in the Appalachian Mountains. And there's many species of Trillium. You have their white Trilliums, and you have their red Trilliums, and you have about 30 different species throughout the world. So, what is so special about Trillium? Why are we showing this on Foraging Truth? Well, as you see, this stem is not really a stem. This is a second part of a rhizome. The rhizome being under the ground, that is an underground stem. This just being another extension of that. Then you have these three brackets, and they are true brackets to the flower. You notice how the flower sits on top of them? These three brackets, some people call leaves. They're actually not true leaves, but they do aid in photosynthesis. So let's talk about this flower. Well, we know that this is how the plant reproduces. But how does this plant reproduce? That's what we want to talk about today. So, you know, plants get their names by different things. Like Woke Robin is one of the names. This comes out before the robins start coming in. So this is the early bird, the spring. So then you have Stinking Benjamin. And the reason why that is this flower doesn't smell so sweet. In fact, I don't think any bees would come near this flower. And the smell that I'm getting, it smells kind of like rotten meat. And you're probably wondering, why does a plant smell like rotten meat? Well, that drags in different types of flies and different types of beetles. And that's who does the pollination for this plant. Flies and beetles. So when the flies and beetles come to this plant, they're actually not, the smell is not given off by the stamen, they're actually given off by the petals. So these petals know what rotten meat smells like. And they know that insects like flies and beetles are going to come and help them in reproduction. Now, let's just reason together for just a minute. How does this beautiful flower right here know what rotten meat smells like? This is just one argument that I have with evolution, guys. This flower knows what chemicals to mix together to put off an aroma through its petals, and knows that insects exist. Well, with all the parts that I've named, it does not have anything in this plant for thinking or for knowing. Nowhere on this plant does it have a memory, but it's alive. So in the reasoning, I'm going to have to say that it's just doing what it was told, and it's genetics. The DNA for this plant was written to know that it's just part of a chain in the creation. Doesn't that make more sense than this just happened? Because I'd like to hear the argument to how this plant knew that there's beetles and flies and they eat meat. I mean, that would make this plant pretty intelligent, wouldn't it? some other interesting facts about this plant. First off, the leaves are edible, and there's many medicinal qualities to this plant. If you would make a tea from this root and you're pregnant, it would induce labor. So stay away from this plant if you are pregnant. If you're out surviving, you can take these brackets and you can eat these. They actually taste like sunflower seeds. And the name Birthroot, it actually aids in inducing labor in childbirth. And the root can also be used as a expectorant if you have congestion. So, guys, a very strong, awesome flower that shows you that there is a God, and He's the one that set up everything. The birds, the insects, what they eat, how He was going to pollinate certain plants. He did that all. And it was all written in their DNA. So guys, with Trillium, check with your local state regulations to make sure that you're allowed to harvest Trillium. There are some places where Trillium is getting pretty scarce. And we want to make sure that we keep this around for our families and for their families and the families to come after that. The Trillium plant. Trillium erectum. Alright guys, if you enjoyed learning about Trillium and you want to come out into the woods with me again on my next adventure, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We should all be foraging truth every day, so keep foraging.